Weiß Bescheid. Intendo.
Welcome to all Caribbean entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you guys for yet another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. I thank you guys for tuning in. We have an awesome program for you guys tonight. Tonight, we are talking about the Digipreneur versus the Entrepreneur. And this is a very, very critical topic because it requires a shift in our mindset and how we approach business. All right? So if this is your first time tuning in to a Digipreneur FM podcast episode, my name is Karan Rose. And if you are from Canada or North America, you're gonna hear me say Karan Rose from time to time because that's how they say it over there. But yeah, this is a critical topic for us to really understand because for far too long, starting a business has been out of reach for many of us. And the main reason that is because of this one word that starts with a C, and that is capital. They say capital is the curse of many an entrepreneur because to get capital in order to start that business, not many of us have access to some of the funds required to start the type of businesses that we want to start. So when you hear many of entrepreneurs say, you know what, I want to start a business. And, the idea is amazing. The idea is great. You know that, there's money to be made in that niche. And then they get to the pen and paper and they start to write down what they need. And they start to put a dollar figure beside what it costs. And by the time they tally everything up, they're into the hundreds of thousands of dollars needed to get this business started. That's not even, operational costs and any of the unexpected things that come up. This is just if you want to just start. This is the type of money you would need. So capital is something that, halts more businesses than anything else. Now, I want to dive into, and I want to kind of compare, digital entrepreneurship to the traditional, to traditionally starting a business. Because going the digital entrepreneur route, there are ways to get involved into the space that you want that are not cap intensive. It may not be exactly what you thought it may not be exactly what you want to do, but it's going to be at least a starting point for you to start to build your brand, build your name, get into the space and also make some money so that you could create either a side income for yourself or it could start off as a side job for you. And as you progress and as you build, it can grow into, the vision or the version of what you have ultimately planned out. So tonight's episode is about the entrepreneur versus the digipreneur. And while we are, recording this for the Digipreneur FM podcast family, we are also live over on IG, and we're talking to the Instagram family as well. So IG family, I know you guys are watching. You guys can drop your questions in, and what will happen is I will answer the questions, as soon as we come off of the live recording of the podcast. That way I can interact with you guys specifically. So without further ado, let's get into it. The digital age, folks, is going to require you to make the biggest mindset shift in our lifetime. The rules have changed. And most of all, what we were taught has expired. If you can accept that technology is the great equalizer and are willing to learn the skills needed that will allow you to start and run a business from your laptop, you can carve out your space to succeed in this new day and age. The entrepreneur and the digipreneur, while both are enterprising, will take two different routes to get to a goal. The difference is that many of us can't even get started becoming an entrepreneur because of the hurdles that are put in place. The digipreneur, however, can be anybody with an idea, a computer, and an internet connection. Almost every business has a digital component that you could start today. The key to the digital age, however, is the mindset shift needed. And it's major, because if it's one thing this pandemic has shown us time and time again, when you go on social media and you look at some of the content, some of the posts, people in the comment sections, when you see some of the comments that people are making, there is a large percentage of the population that believes there is no hope. There is no hope unless somebody gives them that lifeline. And that's a dangerous place to be, especially in a time like this in the pandemic where nobody can predict, what tomorrow holds for us. If you are in a position where you are waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, or you're waiting for somebody to extend an olive branch and give you a lifeline, you don't know when that's going to happen. You don't know if that's going to happen. So to put your eggs and put your hope, or put all hope, into the hands of somebody else, and if you have not made that, if you've not received that paradigm shift, if you've not made that mindset shift to say to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to wait for somebody to provide an opportunity for me. Let me see if I could learn. Let me see if I could learn what I need to learn to be able to succeed in this time period. Because in every single crisis in human history where everything has changed after that crisis, there have always been people who that crisis was exactly what they needed to take their lives into to get themselves to a new station of life. There were crises needed that elevated many of the businesses that we utilize today. They tell you straight up, never waste a good crisis. Never waste a good crisis. This pandemic is the biggest shift for money transfer that we've had in our lifetime. The wealth that is transferring right now, that is creating multi-millionaires, that's happening right now, is all because of a mindset shift and just a willingness to try to learn to see where you can get in, where you can fit in. We live in a time period now where we have an 8-year-old YouTuber, Ryan Lee, making $20+ million a year reviewing toys. And I'm not saying that that's going to be everybody's fate. However, we have tools and platforms and softwares and things to leverage right now that could at least create side incomes for ourselves. And that's one of the big reasons that, I do what I do and I put out the type of content that I put out, because I want people to just be able to see, the low enough hanging fruit within a space or a niche that they are interested in, that they can now become more self-reliant and start to generate their own income and participate in the global economy. And this is why digital entrepreneurship is so critical for us, especially here in the Caribbean, where cost of living is so much cheaper than first world countries. If we learn how to live right here in the Caribbean, but tap into the global economy and earn US dollars to bring in, we could live really good right here in the Caribbean, right? So the key to the digital age is that mindset shift and really taking the time to learn some of the new skills that are going to allow you to create your own revenue streams within a niche that you enjoy. Or even if, there's nothing too much that you're really passionate about, if there's not a problem that you really care about to contribute to solving, if you could at least do yourself a favor, jump on Google and type in, 2021 high income digital skills. If you can at least do that for yourself and find something that may interest you, there is going to be a skill that you could learn to start to generate some income for yourselves, all right? Again, key to the digital age is the mindset shift. There are many people still that believe there's no hope. We need to wait for the government to come and save us. Meanwhile, there's many other folks that are saying to themselves, man, I don't even need nothing from the government. In Trinidad and Tobago, government trying to give you 1,500 TT a month. The US, they're trying to give you, 1,200 US? That's still no money in Trinidad, right? That's still no money in the Caribbean. It might be, it's some money to pay some bills and maybe, buy a little grocery, but that's no real money. We don't want to wait. We don't want to be in that position where we have to wait for somebody to give us something when there's tons of opportunities right now. So let's get into it. So for something like this, I think it's best illustrated by, just kind of breaking down a scenario for you. All right. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a scenario, and I'm going to kind of show you how your average entrepreneur would approach it and how the digital entrepreneur would approach it. All right? All right. So you guys have peeped this. We're going to get into the scenario. So the scenario is a clothing store. All right? So again, this podcast episode is about the Digipreneur versus the entrepreneur, and we're going to utilize a scenario to show you how both of them would approach that same situation, so you guys can understand the benefits that digital entrepreneurship has for us right here, right now in 2021 and beyond. So, scenario is a clothing store. They both have the idea to open up a clothing store. The entrepreneur sits back, he gets his pen, he gets his paper, and he begins to plan out how he's going to build his clothing store business. So what does he do? He starts to make a list of everything that he needs. First, he starts looking for suppliers. He needs products. So he's scouring the internet. He's looking for wholesalers. He's finding some of his favorite brands. He's reaching out to them to get wholesaler price. All right. After that, so he finds the suppliers, right? He knows what he wants to get. He knows what he wants to stock. He knows what the costs are going to be to bring that product in. He has a dollar figure beside it. Secondly, he starts looking for physical locations, right? This is the traditional entrepreneur. So he's looking for suppliers. Then he's looking for physical locations. So he starts, going to the malls. He starts checking out places that are going to be able to get him high foot traffic. He wants to make sure that there's handicap park spacing. He wants to make sure it's in a good location that is easily accessible from east, west, north, south. He wants to make sure that the other businesses that are in his surrounding area are not direct competitors to eat his food, right? So he starts looking for some physical locations. He decides, you know what? There's this perfect place in this mall. He checks out the rent. He's got to pay rent. He's got to pay electricity. He's got to pay the water bill. He's got to install internet. He's got to install TV. Then he has to, check out contractors because now he has to design the store. He's got to get a layout done. He's got to have constructors come in and renovate the entire store to his liking. So he's checking out contractors to see how best they can renovate his physical location. So he's checked out the suppliers. He knows where he's going to get the products from. He's checked out physical locations. He's getting quotes from the various contractors to renovate the store. Then he starts, now again, this is high level, right? There's obviously a lot more to, this is high level, the things that a traditional entrepreneur would kind of go through when they're crafting out or planning out the business that they want to get into. And right now the scenario is clothing store. He starts looking at point of sale systems. So, when people come in, he wants to make sure he can, have all of his inventory entered into a point of sale system. He wants to be able to, track inventory coming in, inventory going out, and then processing the payments. All right. He then starts to create his marketing plan. So he creates his marketing plan, starts to tally up the costs. How much money does he need for TV ads? How much money does he need to get into the papers? How much money is it going to cost him for the radio ads? And again, puts a dollar figure beside that, starts to tally that up. He sees how much money he needs. He starts to put it all together in a business plan. And for this example, we're going to say homeboy needs $100,000 US dollars to get this business off the ground. Clothing store, nothing too extravagant, but a nice, good place in a good area. Not the biggest place in the mall, but he has something nice, right? So he needs a $100K US to get this clothing store off the ground. So he drafts up this business plan. He goes into the bank for the loan. The bank starts to ask him, all of his business. He needs to get a co-signer, right? He has to get a co-signer to sign him this loan. Bank is asking him for what type of assets, what kind of collateral does he have to secure this loan, all that good stuff, right? He gets the loan. Right off the bat, he's $100K in debt. Bruh. Right off the bat. Okay? So again, high level. There's obviously more that an entrepreneur would need to get a physical business off the ground, but that's high level. Okay? Now let's take a look at how the Digipreneur would approach that exact same business. So again, the scenario is clothing store. So the Digipreneur starts to make the plan. First thing he starts doing is he starts looking for drop shipping suppliers. So he decides, you know what? I don't want to have a physical space because there's an overhead. There's overheads attached with having a physical space. So you'd have to find the space. You got to pay rent, security deposit. You got to have somebody to renovate the space. And you got to go and you got to install internet. You got to pay electricity, water, you name it. All right. So he decides, I don't want a physical store. I'm going to just use an online store. And I don't even want to stock the items because the entrepreneur has to purchase those items and stock it. Right? The Digipreneur says, you know what? I'm going to have an online store and I'm going to utilize drop shipping as a fulfillment method. Meaning, I'm not going to stock any of the items. What I'm going to do instead as a drop shipper is I'm going to connect with any one of the major drop shipping partners, and because it's a clothing business, we could use something like Teespring or Printful as a drop shipping partner for the clothing business. And if we want to resell items, we could gladly go and find any one of the big drop shipping partners like an Amazon. You could do drop shipping with eBay. You could use AliExpress. Any one of them that are going to have the items that you want to sell. And then we're going to get a domain name. We're going to take out a domain name. And we're going to jump on something like a Shopify, something that is relatively easy, where I could just pick a template, put it together, I jump on Fiverr, get my logo done. I don't even need to take pictures of the items because I can utilize the photography from my drop shipping partner, or I could order some supplies and do my own photography and upload my own photos to the website. But I use Shopify because it's easy. I could take out a subscription plan, and it integrates with a payment processor. And Shopify will also integrate with pretty much any of the big drop shipping partners. So I integrate, Amazon in the back end. All right. Website built. And this website is costing me $20 a month. The Digipreneur then decides to start to create content to drive traffic to his platform. So he's saying to himself, you know what? I don't have money for TV ads. I don't have money for radio ads. I don't have money for print ads in the newspaper. However, I have my smartphone. I have my smartphone. I've ordered a couple samples of the clothing that I want to sell. I have a couple of friends who are stylish, who are more than willing to create some videos with me or take some pictures with me to create content and put on the social media channels. And as soon as I take the first photo of my hot girl Bridget, she's wearing a nice leggings, a crop top. She's looking good. She's in some nice fresh kicks. I take that picture, bam, put it on our social media, enter in the product tag so people can click on the picture and see what the cost of the item is. They say, wow, the crop top is 20 US. Cool. Let me tap that product tag and let me go right to the website and let me place the order. What does the entrepreneur, when the entrepreneur writes all that down, what is he looking at for his startup costs? A domain name is like $7 US. Shopify e-commerce subscription starts at like $20 US. Social media marketing is free. Well, to distribute your content is free. And maybe homeboy spent $50 US on some sample products to get some of the clothing in so he could take out some pictures and videos. He did not need to go take out a loan. He did not have to go to the bank. If it took the entrepreneur 6 months between getting the loan, the renovations, ordering all of the products and getting them in, stocking the shelves, hiring 1 or 2 staff. If it took the entrepreneur 6 months to a year to do all of that, the Digipreneur could take 2 to 3 days to get that same business off the ground. Because all the Digipreneur needs is the website. He could buy that right then and there. Maybe homeboy did Amazon Prime and got the sample clothing in 2-day shipping. He got it in 2-day shipping. He made a group call. Yo, Bedchins, let's link up at the park. Let's take some photos. I need you guys to look good in some of the clothes that I bought so I could post on social media to get my business off the ground. The digital entrepreneur has no debt. No debt. He did not need to take out any money to get a physical space, renovate the space. He did not need to buy a large quantity of product to stock the shelves. He does not need to hire any staff because all he needs is his laptop and internet. All the digital entrepreneur needs to sell online is his laptop and the internet. And most importantly, creativity. Creativity. That's it. Because the difference now between building the digital space versus traditionally what has been happening for God knows how many years is it's no longer about the big ad spend. Who has the most money for marketing? It's no longer about that. Because the people who are dominating the internet, not just social media, the people who are dominating the internet are not companies. They're not companies. They're individual people shooting TikTok videos from a Samsung S3. Those are the people dominating the internet. Look at Homeboy. Oh my! And it's gonna pain me, but I forget his name. But look at the guy that is on TikTok, dark-skinned African guy that doesn't even talk in his TikTok videos. He just points out things that people are doing excessively, and then shows you the most basic way to do it and unfolds his hands and makes up his face. And Homeboy's making millions. And if he ever decided, I'm going to sell merch, he doesn't even need to go get the merch printed. He just needs to go create a store on a Teespring or a Printful, add that to his link in bio, and make mills off of merch. So he's making millions off of TikTok. He can go and make millions off of merch. Then he could get paid to speak. Then he could go sell digital courses on how to create TikTok videos. And before he's done, he's already a multi-millionaire, but he can have each of his streams can be multi-million-dollar earning streams without him having to spend a penny. Because many of these people who are making millions have not necessarily spent money. It's just that they've used what they've had very creatively. And this is a major, major difference between the digital entrepreneurs versus the entrepreneurs. The traditional entrepreneurs are going down a very known path. Business plan, get all your supplies, renovate a store. Remember, the scenario we used is a clothing store. So business plan, renovate the store, buy from wholesalers, sell at retail costs. And you have overheads. You have, you could have $20,000 a month in overheads. Easily. And that is coming out whether you make money or not. But the digipreneur, outside of, I can't even say rent because there are people living in their parents' house. There are people living in their parents' house and have made their millions. Heck, Ryan is 8 years old making $20+ million a month. The man still eats Dunkaroos. He's still drinking Sunny Delight. And he done retired his parents at 8 years old. So there is that mindset shift that needs to happen for the entire Caribbean region. Because we still believe that the platforms like YouTube need to give us monetization. Platforms like Facebook need to give us monetization. The government needs to give us more money or give us a way to come out of the situation that we're in. When the reality is, There are so many ways for us to earn right in our own living room, right in our own house. There are so many opportunities that the pandemic has brought for us. But if you have not had that paradigm shift, if you have not come to the realization that, you know what? I'm fed up. I'm tired of waiting for somebody to give me what I need to provide for myself and provide for my family. If that thought hasn't hit you yet and you're still waiting for somebody, you're waiting for Zuckerberg to give you monetization. You're waiting for Google to give you monetization. You're waiting for the government to tell you, here, look some money. Or, hey, we are opening up this new place and we're creating jobs. We don't need you to create jobs. We don't need it. We have opportunities available to us right here, right now. And I'm sick and tired. I ain't gonna lie. This is my platform, so I could kind of say the things that I kind of want to say, right? But I'm sick and tired of, you go on social media, people are complaining about what isn't happening, what needs to happen, and at the end of it, it's somebody has to do something for them. And I get it. You know, we all want people in positions of power to do better and do right by us. I understand that. But I'm sick and tired of that narrative that it has to be that they have to give us permission or they have to give it to us in order for us to provide for ourselves. And then maybe one or two times I get annoyed. I might see those comments, you know, people waiting for the government to do something. And I might get annoyed and be like, man, have you even decided to pick up your phone and Google, you know, new jobs post-pandemic or new skills that are needed right now and learn those skills online? Have you even decided to do that? And I'll make that comment, and then the first thing, this is what pisses me off. The first thing that comes back that people reply to is, so what? You think that everybody can do it? What about my 80-year-old grandmother who doesn't even have a computer? Really? In a population of 1.5 million people in Trinidad, you're really going to tell me about the reason why none of us can decide to elevate is because of your 80-year-old grandmother? That's what's holding us back? Granny? Granny's holding us back? Granny? If it hasn't hit you that you have the power to chart your own path, and everything that we need to be able to create our own future and create our own financial success. If it hasn't hit you that all we need is a computer, you're going to be in for a long ride, because there are guys who are making money, and you don't even have to make millions. There are guys making money just from their phone, just learning how to utilize Canva on their phone and creating graphics for people. Somebody might earn an additional $200 US a month, and that might cover some bills or put some groceries on the table. If you're in Trinidad, somebody could, use Canva on their phone and earn a little $2,000, and that's a bill payment off of just using your phone. I'm not telling you that we need to go big and try to make millions. What I'm telling you is that we have ways right here, right now, across the Caribbean and diaspora, where just being able to earn an additional piece of money to our full-time job as a supplemental income will go a long way. And yes, I know not everybody might be able to jump in. Oh God, I ain't telling Granny to go learn Canva. But oh God, there are some of you that can do it. And if more of you in our society decided to pick up a skill and generate some income for yourselves, it would lessen the burden. That way, the people who are in communities that they're far off. They're in really bad shape. They don't have internet. They don't have running water. You know, they're living hour to hour. They're not even living day to day. They're living hour to hour. They're living in that type of poverty. If more of us that have the means and the resources, if more of us were willing to learn the new skills to generate our own income, that way, for the poverty-stricken communities, the state's help can go to the people that need it. Not you who living in your parents' house with a good S20 and a laptop, and your internet provider giving you 50 megabits per second and up, and you want the state's help? No. Those are the people I get upset about. Because even if you were in a good paying job, pandemic hit, hours cut, or you get laid off, if you still have a roof over your head, and you still have an internet connection, and you have a laptop and you have a phone, there are way too many things for you to do to make money. All of the skills I learned and have in my arsenal, none of them are learned in school, because forget about it. None of the schools are even teaching the skills that I have in my arsenal. I've learned it from books from some of the top minds in the space right now. I've taken tons of free courses. I've watched hundreds of hours of YouTube video, and the last time I checked, YouTube free. YouTube University is free. There are way too many opportunities to learn these new skills for me not to learn them, and for me not to figure out how I could turn this into a service. I'm not waiting for the government to give me a penny. What on earth? I'm in Trinidad and Tobago right now. What on earth is the government what can $1,500 TT dollars do for me? What is that in the US? Let me just Google that real quick, because I have people that are from other countries, right? So let's do the conversion. What on earth is $220 US going to do for the man them? What can bad man do with $220 US? A month. I would lose weight because me can't afford food with no $1,500. I like asparagus and greens. I like my little, I like some expensive food when I don't want to cook. It's food drop. I'm not even driving right now, so it's ride share everywhere. I can't do nothing with that kind of money. I can't do nothing with that. So what am I doing waiting for the government to give me that? $1,500? No. I will go and what would I do for $1,500? $1,500, I might do, that's a strategy call. $1,500, I might go make some graphics for somebody. Learning a high income skill like building a website. I'm not doing a website for less than 10,000 TT. And for those in other countries, that's a 1,500 US. I'm not doing a website for less than 1,500 US. And all I need to do, because the cost of living is so much cheaper in Trinidad than it is in North America, 10,000 TT, $1,500. Yo, listen, I could live a minimalistic life. I have found places. Heck, I was living in an apartment for a 2,500 TT. It was a big, spacious 2-bedroom apartment. And I was good. Groceries were handled. My ride sharing was handled. My kids are provided for. So just doing one website could have handled all of my personal expenses. All right? And this is the paradigm shift that I need people to understand. This is that shift. We cannot sit around and wait. If you are in a situation where you are poverty-stricken, I get it. I completely understand that. So I'm not I'm not spewing venom at you, right? You do what you got to do. But for everybody else who, even if you've lost a job or you've reduced services or half a salary, and you have a house, you have internet, you have a laptop, you have a phone, and you're asking for government support, listen, there are skills that you can learn right now that are going to pay you 10 times more than the government ever going to give you. And on top of that, you don't have to wait. You don't even have to apply. You don't. Those are the people I'm talking to. Tonight's topic is about the entrepreneur versus the digital entrepreneur and the mindset shift that has to happen. Folks, the digital age will need you to rethink how you go about starting that business. And you need to learn the skills to get it off the ground. So where that entrepreneur, like I said before, had to go and get that business plan done, had to go get contractors to renovate the business, he had to go find suppliers to stock the business, he has overheads that he has to pay associated with the physical business because he's got electricity to pay, he's got internet, he's got TV, he has staff to pay, maybe he's even paying for security, who knows? But when he starts, he's over 100K in debt. The digital entrepreneur starts with a website. Doesn't need stock because he can drop ship. Takes out a website subscription for $20 US a month. Buys 2 or 3 pieces of products. Gets his friends to take some photos with, and he jumps on social media, and that's where he's distributing the content to get sales and driving traffic back to his website so the sales can happen. And his overheads is like, let's say his overheads are 50 US for the month to start that business. 350 TT dollars. That's my subscription for my cell phone alone. All right. So again, that's the mindset shift that needs to happen to switch up with digital entrepreneurship. Having something like an integrated website, learning how to do drop shipping, learning what payment options are available to us so that we can collect those payments, learning the logistics aspect, how do we get a product from to and from, learning how to create digital products so we can sell digital products. Digital products can scale. There's no physical aspect of it needed. If you create digital products, you can scale. If I'm a cook, if I'm a chef, if right now nobody is coming into the restaurants or restaurants are slow, the foot traffic is slow, then I have a cooking channel. I have a cooking school. I have ebooks. I'm looking how to dive into digital products so some of the money that I was losing from people not coming in, I can start to make up some of those things through digital products. And the best part about the digital products is they're not limited to just one country. We had, what's that girl? Wendy Rahmat. You know how much money Wendy made in this pandemic with them crispy ass doubles she made? You know how much money? Because her video went viral in the beginning of the pandemic, when we had the first lockdown in Trinidad and everybody was going through their doubles withdrawals and everybody was trying to figure out how to make doubles. Homegirls on YouTube with her cooking channel, and she made them crispy, crunchy doubles, them neat, unsaucified doubles. Thing crispy, you're hearing the crunch. The girl straight up said it. I like my doubles with a crunch. And everybody was hating on poor Wendy Rahmat, if that's her last name. But I know her name is Wendy. Everybody was hating on crunchy doubles. But with every view on her channel for them crispy, crunchy, unsaucified doubles, she made money on YouTube. YouTube paid her. So we could hate. But that's the difference of being a digital entrepreneur versus an entrepreneur. The digital entrepreneur, and every business has a digital aspect to it. There are digital things that can be done within every business. Heck, even if you're an electrician, if you're a mechanic and you are waiting for cars to come in to fix, Now you have a YouTube channel teaching people how to change their own oil and make that YouTube money. Now you have an ebook. Now you should have an online school teaching people how to do things. Now you should be doing that. And I want to drive a point home, right? I'm gonna take one of the most boring things on the face of this earth, and if you enjoy it, you're crazy for it, right? But there are some crazy people out here. I'm gonna type in Excel, right? To me, Excel is one of the most boring things ever on the face of the earth. I'm gonna type in Excel on YouTube, and I'm gonna see what the top YouTube channel is for the word Excel, and let me see what the views are for the top video, and also what is what does that person have in by the way of subscribers. So the first video I see, I just type in Excel and I get the first video is the beginner's guide to Excel. The beginner's guide to Excel. And this video has 12 million views. This video has 12 million views. You know how much money homeboy making to teach you Excel? Imagine you making millions teaching people Excel. This guy's channel, Technology for Teachers and Students. New episodes every Monday teaching you Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And he has 824,000 subscribers. Listen to me. You know how wild that is? You know how wild that is? He could be, and his channel is called Technology for Teachers and Students. So I could imagine that this person probably had a daytime job once upon a time, and they were a teacher. YouTube probably retired this person from teaching. Why am I going to sit down in a class, God knows, 16 hours a day between class time and the work you have to do after the fact for bare minimum paid because teachers don't get paid? Why am I going to do that when I could make YouTube videos teaching people how to do Excel and Microsoft Word and PowerPoint? Things that were never going to pay me for in a physical school. I could do that on YouTube and make mills. This person is making some healthy US money every single month. I would not be surprised if he's making anything less than 30,000 US a month, given the amount of followers that he has. And his videos are, all of them are viral. Like his lowest videos are like 4,000 views. That's his lowest. And on the high end, it's upwards of 20 million views on boring ass Excel. So this is that shift that needs to be made. We have the tools, we have the technology right here in the Caribbean. We can get paid from YouTube. YouTube is monetizable for us. They cut us a check. We can get paid from Amazon affiliates. Look, they just added us to the Amazon sellers list. We can now list our products on Amazon and sell on Amazon. We can build our own websites. We could and connect to drop shipping platforms and sell products without ever having to touch a physical product or get into a physical space. You don't even want to do that? Cool, no problem. I could be a content creator teaching about anything that I want, reviewing products or services, and I could, do affiliate marketing and make money. I teach people how to do websites. Two of my affiliate marketing revenue streams is hosting providers, telling people to go subscribe with Ionos or SiteGround or Overmill, and I get paid commission if somebody signs up for hosting services. You see how crazy it is to make money now? And you want me to wait for the government to give me 200 US or 1,200 US or 1,500 TT? Are you insane? Do you know how much asparagus costs right now? No, I'm not waiting for that, man. I'm not waiting for that. So nonetheless, you know what? I hope this episode really drove the point home of digital entrepreneurship versus entrepreneurship. We have so many ways to make money online, not named Forex. Right? You don't have to go and sell Forex. You don't got to join no spammy, scammy things to make money online. No. if you are listening to this episode, I want you to jump on Google right now, type in high income digital skills, look at the laundry list of skills that are needed right now in today's day and age. There are a variety of platforms teaching you the skills and certifying you for those skills. Learn a skill, whether you love it or whether you're doing it out of necessity. Learn a skill. You have social media to go and market your business. You don't even need a website. You just get started. Go learn a skill, jump on social media, learn how to give value and start to build a clientele, and you can start to get people from around the world as a client. And we have all of the tools needed to send a digital invoice in the Caribbean to somebody in Japan. You could use First Atlantic Commerce with Figaro or Social Pay or Sagicor or NCB. Anyone, God, man, listen, there are so many platforms we have access to in the Caribbean that are Caribbean made for the Caribbean that will allow us to send a digital invoice to somebody in Botswana, in Japan, in Taiwan, in Singapore, and get paid. Even if it's small money to start, at least it's money that you're going to be getting for yourself that you did not get at that you were not getting. And again, my advice to anybody, as long as you could try to create supplemental income. So if you have your job and your hours got cut, or you're not making the money that you want, as long as you could learn a skill that at least is going to put some additional money in your pocket from the comfort of your own home, that is a win. That is a win. Don't let nobody fool you. That is a win. There are plenty of jobs I've did for free just to get them in my portfolio and get the experience. And then the very next person that came and hit me up and said, hey, I seen that you did this for this company. What's the cost? And I hit them my costs. But the thing is that they've already seen my work, because what I did was I reached out to a company. I did some work for that company for free just to get their name in my portfolio. And then I leveraged it. I leveraged that free work that I did with that company just to get them into my portfolio. And when the other company's seen, hey, you did X for them, yo, we want you to do that for us. What's the cost? I hit them my price. They already know I could do the work because they've seen it. And you leverage. Many of you are afraid to do free work because your amigo won't let you do free work. To this day, I do free work. But strategically, because there are people that I know I need to leverage for my portfolio. There are people I want to get paid from. And I'm like, you know what? If I go to them now, I might not get the money that I want. So let me go and do something with their competitor or somebody in a similar space. Let me go do that for free. And then let me go and bring that work that I did. And let me go to the people I really want to work with. And let me get the money I really want. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. My body of work, man, half and half is free and paid. But all of the free work I did got me paid. All of the free work I did, I leveraged. Strategically leveraged those companies to get paid. So some of y'all can sit there and not want to do free work, not learn the skill, and not do free work to build that portfolio, to leverage it to get paid. Y'all cannot do it, but you know what? There are going to be people out there who are going to yam your food left and right. Learning the skills, doing some free work to get their portfolio up. And heck, some of the free work that I've did, turned into the company saying, yo, we want more. What's the cost? And I got paid from them too. Right? So again, it's a mindset shift that needs to happen. And I speak to the Caribbean entrepreneur. and those in the diaspora. But this is information that any and everybody could take home. But I really drive the point home for my Caribbean folks, because we have not really understood the type of time that we are in and the blessing that we have living in the region. The amount of money that I would have needed to sustain myself and my 2 kids living in Toronto is 10 times the amount of money that I need to live right here in Trinidad. And because I don't need as much money to live a good life in Trinidad, I have more of it. And I could invest in myself. There are things I'm investing in now that, again, I would have needed more money to my name to be able to invest in if I was living in North America, because cost of living is so much higher over there. It's a blessing to be living right here in the Caribbean, right here in Trinidad, right here in Jamaica. It's a blessing to be living right here, because we don't need as much money to survive unless you've created this ridiculous lifestyle for yourself where you have tons of expenses. But the reality is you don't need as much money to live in the Caribbean like you do in the first world countries. All right? So that is my episode today for the Digipreneur FM family. If you are listening to this episode and you have not subscribed to the social media platforms, definitely check me out on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's Karen Rose at all of those platforms. And, if all else fails, you guys can Google me. You guys can most definitely jump on my website, KarenRose.com. I talk all things e-commerce and building your digital presence in the Caribbean and monetizing your platform all across the region. Right? I'm trying to help you guys build in the digital space and participate in the global economy. That is my mission. That is my goal. That is what I want for you, because I believe if more people across the Caribbean region learn how to participate in the global economy, learn how to create supplemental income for themselves, the less headache and stress people are going to be under, the less crime is going to be needed to put food on the table, and we could live good in the region. I want to be on the beach sipping something strong with no worries. I want to live that life in the Caribbean that Bob Marley keep talking about. No worry about a thing. I want to live that life. So that's why I do what I do, right? That's why I preach what I preach. Because the more of the masses that learn to create supplemental income through digital means, learning how to just take your cell phone and learn how to create content and being able to leverage that and turn that into opportunities to make money for yourself and your family, collectively, we're going to be better for it. Folks, that's my episode for today. Thank you and take care.
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karen Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karen Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.